So, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert was talking a little bit about some of the changes in the WNBA next season, and as usual, the old WNBA fans are not particularly happy with it. As usual, these changes got announced and they lost their minds. So, first change is, starting in 2025, there will now be 44 regular season games. And one thing I will say is, like, I kind of get it in a way that how can you expect players to play more games while their contracts are set? Like, there are people that are still on rookie deals from 36 game seasons, and they now have to play 8 more games for the same amount of money. Like, if I was the players, I'd be pissed at that. But for a fan, there's more games. And it hasn't gone to anything crazy. Like, 80 is a little bit too much. 44, I think it can't go more than 50. Like, even with the new teams in, you cannot go more than 50. That would just dilute the league too much, in my opinion. You really can't. You really can't go more than 50 games. But look, it is what it is. At the same time, like, the players want to complain about this, fine. But, like, as usual, you know, it's the new. This is not something that they have an issue with. So this is it: the Caitlin Clark rule, the Indiana Fever rule, as much as anything. Starting 2025 season. The first round of postseason will change from 2-1 to 1-1-1. The higher seed will host games 1 and 3. So the higher seed, so it means, obviously, both teams get to host a game. Both teams are guaranteed to host a game. And for people being like, oh, they need, like, get a higher seed if you want to host a game. And it's like, dude, it was 1-2 until a couple of years ago. Like, each team, if you make the playoffs, you should be guaranteed a home game. That's just logic. And obviously, as soon as it happens to the Indiana Fever, where the WNBA misses out on a sellout crowd and the biggest playoff game of all time, and so obviously they're going to change it for that. The WNBA finals will go from best of 5 to best of 7 with a 2-2-1-1-1, so the same as the NBA. The higher seed hosting games 1, 2, 5, and 7. I will say, though, they need to bring conferences in for the playoffs. They have to bring conferences in the playoffs eventually for the 1-1-1. Because let's just say you don't have that much of a break, and the first round of the playoffs is like New York versus LA. The Sparks versus the Liberty. And it's not too bad because of charter flights, but still. Like, they had the fly commercial. Like, imagine having to go over, back, and over. And you're going, like, 6 hours and 6 hours. Which is, for pro athletes, isn't ideal. But I do think the conference system should be brought in. Because it makes no sense. Just, if we're being honest, it makes absolutely no sense. Because, like, if you look at the teams, they have Eastern Conference and Western Conference. What's the point? Like, what is the actual point in a conference system if you're not going to do anything with the conference system? I just don't. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't really get the WNBA. But my favorite part about this whole situation is the the old fans going absolutely crazy. Like, the old fans going absolutely crazy, going mad, being like, I hate this rule. I hate this rule. Like, everything was perfect as it was. It's like, so what do you hate about it? The fact that if you are a fan of a playoff team, you're guaranteed to be able to see a game for your team? Or do you hate the fact there are 2 more games played in the playoffs or 4 more games in the regular season? But the reality of this is most of these old WNBA fans don't like basketball. They don't like basketball. Let's never forget. Never forget the person who is being promoted by the actual damn WNBA saying they really didn't want the Lynx or the Liberty in the finals because, well, I like drama, and, you know, if you like basketball, yeah, this is going to be a great finals, but I'm really there for the drama and the stories. And I'm like, oh my God, these are the people the league are promoting. Like, that's the issue from the start of it, is that the problem is that most WNBA fans, like old WNBA fans, aren't actually basketball fans. And I genuinely mean that as a point. Like, they're not basketball fans, and I get it. There's a lot of NBA fans that aren't basketball fans either. But, like, I'm sorry, you're not seeing, like, the NBA promote the non-basketball fans people. And you're not hearing people that don't like basketball complaining about basketball. And yeah, there is a stage where it gets too much. I think it would have been a better idea for the finals to go to for the first round to go best of 5. I think the first round best of 5 and the finals staying best of 5. Best of 5 the whole way through. I like that. I don't like best of 3, then best of 5, then best of 7. I don't hate it, but like better than, I don't know. I don't know if best of 7's needed. I don't like best of 7 in general, but I hate best of 3. Best of 3 takes away the like major upsets of best of 1, but it also isn't enough games where it guarantees you to find the best team. So I just don't like best of 3 in general. I would have rather seen ideally best of 5, best of 5, best of 5, but look, this is better than it was, I guess. But and yeah, the regular season hasn't hit too many games. If it goes above 50 with how short the season is, then I think there's going to be an issue. Then we're getting into like the just too many games in a season. But I do think 44 is fine. A lot of people are like, oh, the NBA players can play 100 games. WNBA players can only play X amount of games. But it's like, yeah, but a lot of the WNBA players are playing overseas and their season is 4 months long. So, yeah, that is a very, very interesting one anyway. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think the commissioner should be fired for, making sure the teams can play an away game? Or teams can play a home game in the playoffs? And the best thing is that people are like, oh, it's just Indiana fans that cause this. The reality is that, yeah, it's the reason why they pushed through the rule was because Indiana didn't get to host a home playoff game. And it's a huge deal. Phoenix didn't get to host a home playoff game. They've got a huge crowd. So I'm trying to think who else, like the Atlanta Dream, they don't really count. And they don't count, but like as far as in this conversation, because the stadium holds 4,000 people. And then the Seattle Storm. Yeah, the Seattle Storm have got a big crowd too. So like the Storm, the Mercury, and the Fever, especially the Fever, didn't even get to host a home game in the playoffs. There is an issue with that. And the problem is that, everyone, the old WNBA fans, anything that they feel like benefits Caitlin Clark is going to be bad for the league. But the reality is that Indiana are probably going to be a top 4 team next year. So if anything, not getting the first 2 games is not going to be a benefit for the Indiana Fever in the playoffs. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Am I wrong with this take? Should Kathy Engelbert be fired for, making sure that there is more basketball played and that more people have the opportunity to see high-level basketball, playoff basketball in person and on their TV screens? I don't know. Am I in the wrong for thinking that that's something, or should we all be just giving the middle finger to anything that may or may not benefit Caitlin Clark? I don't know. If anything, like the Aces are going to be probably have a down year next year. Like, for being honest, in my opinion, the top 4 seeds next year are probably going to be the Fever, the Liberty, the Lynx, and I don't think the Aces are top 4 seed next year. I think the Storm maybe. I think the Mystics maybe. But like, point guards regressing. Kelsey Plum might not be there. And they're all just getting older. So I don't know.